Hello, and welcome to the Some Kind of Mystic podcast, the show that bridges all things mystical with the chaotic and unpredictable experience of being authentically human. I'm your host, Jessie Herman, life coach, energy healer, artist, mother, and channel for the non-physical entity group Vagrein. In other words, I'm some kind of mystic, and so are you. Today, I'm super excited to share this interview with you about bringing the light with my special guest, Vera. Vera Kovacs is a channeler and spiritual mentor who is here to guide people to be who they truly are. Vera received the alarm clock buzz of awakening in 2004. She attended a peace conference where she met people and was exposed to methods like kinesiology, who had super big impact on her life. After that intense week of the conference, she turned towards spirituality by reading books, listening to lectures, attending courses, and trying out many forms of alternative therapies. This dedication to finding out more has led her to countless experiences in her life that have increased her consciousness, allowing her to be more self-aware and awake to the wholeness of her being. Vera learns and teaches conscious living. She believes that only a conscious being can practice real freedom of choice, and that this awareness combined with love leads to less suffering and more peace and compassion. Her teachings, in one word, is awareness. Vera uses her special spiritual skills such as intuition, psychic vision, clairvoyance, claircognizance, and knowledge in sessions with private clients and groups. Originally, she only shared her powerful gifts in her mother tongue of Hungarian, but after meeting with Vagrein last year and having their typical follow your dreams message transmitted to her, she started to create content in English as well and is now building her English-speaking community. She also creates content for YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and they all have the message of higher consciousness. Please enjoy my conversation with Vera Kovacs. So welcome Vera Kovacs to Some Kind of Mystic. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm very well. Thank you. And you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us and for being a guest on the show today. I'm so excited to talk to you because you, like me, are a channel and I don't get to talk to that many other channels. So we have a lot of common. And First off, I want to hear your story and how you came to your spiritual realizations or awakening, if you want to call it that, and how it is that your channeling journey began.
When I was preparing for this conversation with you, I was thinking that, well, on my webpage, it is said that it is one wake-up call, that I am describing it that way, but really it was, starting off with my birth, if I can say so. So when I was born, I died for a few seconds. And lately, in the last few years, I had these, kind of memories coming back of that in my dreams and in meditations. And that was some kind of a wake-up for me, because I decided to stay here. And it was a close collaboration with my guides, my higher self, to keep this body alive so that I can use it properly for this incarnation. So, and then, when I was in elementary school, high school, I already meditated. I didn't know it was called that at that time. I saw yoga on TV, so I did it like when I was 6 and 7, started doing yoga. And then this kind of wake-up call that, become aware of your innate knowledge, your spiritual knowledge is there, you just didn't have the words for that, was in 2004. When I participated, and I was, a volunteer to help all the other presenters and all the staff to, run the show, because it was a week-long peace conference where from all around the world, spiritual teachers come to Hungary and had this topic, these workshops and lectures all around. This main topic was peace on earth, and how do we achieve that. And there I found, kinesiology. I dived into that later on and became a kinesiologist working with, energy. Kinesiology also uses the Chinese medicine energy work and so on. So I gradually, opened up my, innate knowledge and also gained so much more on the road. And back then, my psychic abilities, was kind of implicit, let's say. So I would catch that with very vivid dreams and having premonitions, so on. And let's say from 2009 and 10, when I found a psychic, I went to her for a long time, and she always said to me that you are like my colleague. So I'm talking to a colleague, and I didn't understand that. I know that I had some, I just felt I am a sensitive girl, I catch up the vibe in the room immediately and read people, what's on their mind really, beside what they say, and so on. And during really the pandemic 2020, when I had the time to meditate daily, have this calm, relaxing time and more, so that I can listen in. And then I watched on YouTube and some courses teaching channeling, because first I had this psychic ability, so I see things and then I interpret what I see for those who ask. But for me, it was, it's my personality that I felt it is, it gives too much room for my ego to, distort the message, or guessing around what it means, what this picture means. And I had to always ask for confirmation from any client or friend or whatever. And then I decided, why don't I do this vocal channeling, where there is not as much room to filter the message, but just, you have to step aside and let it come through you. And that is when I feel that there is no step involved. So an information in a vision coming, then my ego or personality describe it to someone. But with vocal channeling, it's one step. So information in, information out, and there is no interpretation on my side, at least, or not that much, because every channel is somehow filtering the information. So that is how, from birth to today, I'm 40 this summer. So this 40 years in a nutshell, how I arrived to become a channel. And this is my highest excitement at this time. So that's what I explore these days. And I always learn. I learned from you. I saw you on YouTube, and I resonated with you. So you are also teaching me. So thank you for that.
Oh, thank you. It's wonderful. So my question is, so first of all, I understand that you channel in Hungarian and are now coming into channeling in English as well, which is really amazing. And I know from my experience that channeling is not language based, in that Vagrein also channels through me in Italian. Now, that is 100% dependent on my amount of vocabulary, passive vocabulary in Italian. So, it's never going to be as good as it is in English, which is my first language. But it is super interesting that it's exactly the same energy, exactly the same messages, no matter what language you're channeling in.
Exactly.
And so just to summarize what you just said, for anyone who's listening, anyone who's curious about their own journeys, what I'm hearing you say is that you had like milder levels of knowing or of psychic ability or of intuition way before you started to accept your gifts.
Yeah, it's like, you have some talents you are born with, but you need to develop the skills to, be a professional or a master in it. So it was really, really like the inherent, something remain open in you, so that you maybe, I feel like I remember faster like others, or sooner, let's say. But it is not just your age, because I see this awakening happening, like, all across the globe. So it's also a collective awakening. So the younger you are, the later you born, so after the 2000s, you are more prone to, wake up, or not forgetting as much as those who were born, in the 50s, 60s, and so on. So it's that, and also a personal openness as well, which I'm sure I brought with myself. And when I learned this, you also do Reiki healing. So in Hungary, there is a branch where they taught past life regression in that. So when I learned that, and we have to, practice on ourselves and with our partners at the course, my very first experience in past life regression was not really a past life, but so I went back to the state when I decided to or incarnate into this form that now is called Vera. So, and it was explicitly, the knowledge that I choose to come here in this lifetime to help humanity. At this time, I knew it will be hard. I knew the darkness and the density of this earth plane. I still felt some hesitancy. My mind translated it like I was sitting on the clouds and my legs were down towards earth, and I said, "Oh man, this will be a rough ride." So, but yeah, so I come to peace with that. So that there was a quite long period when I don't feel that I belong here. I'm sure many of you felt this way. I heard it many times from people, and they think they come from other planets and so on and so forth. That is why I can empathize with that feeling. And now when I reach and unfold these skills and practice my alignment with my highest self, that's when I feel home here. So that's when you can say that I don't want to go somewhere else. I don't feel homesick or whatever, because if you are in that alignment, you can enjoy life really, and you can kind of practice your free will. And that is my motto as well, to be aware and to be in love is when you can practice your conscious choice, aka your freedom. So yeah, so it is not just like one moment the switch is on and you become a channel. So it is a progress, going back to your question. So
yeah,
there are some hints, there are some meetings, like I have meetings in my dreams.
Yes, I was going to ask about that next, because you are talking about, people feeling like they're not from here, and we as humans, maybe we assume or we imagine, or from the information we've been, that's been shared with us, whether it's metaphysical spiritual imagination, or it's like the imagination of the collective, like in, films or media or stuff like that. We have been told or suggested the concept that there are beings from other planets or other planetary systems, right? Now, you mentioned in a past moment when we spoke that you have dreams where you are contacting these beings.
Yeah.
So I want to definitely hear all about that. People are super interested in that, especially with what's going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
And also the question I always get like around my channeling is like, who are you channeling? What is this thing? Where does it come from? So I want to ask you that question, even though I know that it's a complicated answer at times, because in terms of like Vagrein and what comes through me, there isn't a location, there isn't like one unit
Yeah.
of beings that they come from. So that might be a similar answer for you. But can you tell us a little bit about your connection with what can be perceived as like beings from different star systems?
Yeah, so my first experience of like channeling was with this psychic I mentioned. And we give it a try. So I ask her to guide me how to do this. And she just asked me, how would you want to do this? How would you want to, create the connection and start channeling? And I just got the information, take 3 deep breaths, and that's it. And then I connected with a serious master being. I sensed him as a huge being, a very serious being. So it was not a funny guy. And then I sensed some beings that I felt like has some metallic energy, or my earthly mind or association went with that energy as metal and a shape like a bell. So for a while I called them bell ringers. And then it went away. I did not deal with channeling. Some years passed, and then when I started again, and I was pissed off that I cannot do the vocal channeling. I was sorry.
You were angry you couldn't do the what channeling?
The vocal channeling, so speaking. So not just
interpretation,
clear cognizant that right. I get the thoughts, but how to do like clear speaking, so vocal channeling, how to do that, teach me that. And I was arguing with them why it is so hard, what is blocking me, what was that shift that I need. So I get the images, I get the information as a clear cognizant information. So it is all just different form of the same, like you said. It is same in English, same in Italian, same in image, same in sound. Yes. So clear hearing, clear seeing, clear cognizant, it's all the same. Vocal channeling is the same, it's just the form, how you interpret it for yourself or others. And I remember I was sitting on my bed, going to sleep, preparing to go to sleep, and they just came in. Hi, we are the Arcturian Council of Light.
Beautiful.
And I was so, kind of shocked or stunned that it was so easy. Yeah. There was no 4-hour meditation in front of that, nothing. I was just came out from brushing my teeth, going to bed, and when I was closing my phone, and they just come in, here we are. So so basically they remained still. So from 2020 till now, they are always in. They say that we are on the I mean, the Arcturian Council of Light and I, so we are on the same ray of light, let's say. So similar vibration, or we can say it's the same soul family, sort of.
Yeah.
So that is why I can easily connect to them and they connect to me. But as I said, I had this previous experience with the serious beings. I also got connections with the blue avian beings, and I had a guide. They shared the name Xanadu, which I found on Google that it was a city back in ancient China or something. And I had other session with other channels where they confirmed that I have SSani and Yaya connections. And one came in my dream, a zeta reticle being connected me. It was like a counterpart, as Bashar usually says, so the same oversoul we share. Yeah, so, but that again, evolved through time, because my very first interactions was with negative energy,
Right, yeah.
or negative beings. I did not really believe in this kind of war against good and bad.
My first experiences were also like my first alien encounters, let's say, were also with what could be perceived as negative energies, right? And I
Yeah.
also have almost no interest in any of this topic on a personal level, but multiple connections with this topic on like what did you say Bashar calls it? Like a parallel
Counterpart of you.
Okay, so I also have a counterpart that has like a lot of activity going on with, and I don't know what species or anything like that. So I know that there's like some parallelness going on with like accessing and channeling and everything like that. And also it's hilarious because I also had these what could be perceived as negative experiences, or what is still considered now negative in that whole like battle, good, evil, all the the Star Wars stuff going on.
Yeah, so my first like real, not just in dream, but I mean literal physical experience was that we visited a couple, a friend of ours, and I had so worth headache that I do not usually have headaches, and it hurt so much. My whole head wanted to blow off. So it was very bad. I didn't understand what's going on. And at that night, I felt like I am in a cold chamber, like a cold wind is blowing, but it was like summer and hot, so it's like energetic cold. So I put the pillow on my head to warm my head up, and then in my dream, I just saw a being, a head of a being, what they typically, describe this diamond shape or pointed chin, big black eye, grayish skin head coming to my face. And it didn't say anything. I was just so terrified that I thought I'm going to die. It was like a panic attack or something like that. So I wake up, but it was so vivid that I was so afraid I could not even move. I could not even call others downstairs that, hello, I'm upstairs and I want to die. And it was very weird. And later, I dreamt that I am going with an elevator down to Earth, into Earth, so underground. And in the elevator there was a mirror and in the mirror, I again saw these big-headed black or dark gray beings, and they said that F off here, we do not like you to be here, so do not look around, you are not welcomed. So it was not as negative, but then I get a glimpse of this, maybe there is something between dark and light, so I was curious what's going on. So my other higher self, or whatever part of me that I'm unconscious of, one was curious to check out what's going on.
Okay.
And when, maybe it's an astral projection or whatever I did, it was not conscious. So I didn't plan this. It was not a lucid dream experimentation. I just dreamt this.
Okay.
And they said, you are not welcomed here. So there is something going on with negative and positive beings. So and then I had many dreams with seeing spaceships, which is the funny thing that I was watched lately some Stephen Greer, this UFO stuff he's doing and research.
Yeah, sure. I believe he has documentaries both on Gaia and Netflix.
And he explained that there are some man-made versions of UFOs and real interdimensional beings and UFOs. And I think that is what my dreams were about long time ago. So many years before I saw these lectures of Dr. Greer. So yes, it was a fear that I cannot distinct between a positive ET craft or a negative ET craft. And that is what I refer to an evolution from coming from negative experiences to positive experiences. Because when I started this meditation, how to develop channeling and so on, I kind of switched to the positive. So I started to have I had a very positive dream when I saw little creatures, blue creatures, that was very similar to my childhood favorite cartoon, these called
Smurfs.
Moomins.
Okay, the little like fluffy.
Yes, these small fluffy. Yes, but they were blue. So maybe they were the blue aliens or whatever. I didn't get the name.
Well, there are also so many, like, an infinite potential. There's so much potential for every possible species to exist, not necessarily like
but
something
I'm
we've
sure
already heard
they
of.
choose this, or my mind choose this
representation
to confirm that they are positive, they are my tribe. And I was so excited, when you meet your true family, your soul family, who you truly love, and they were packing their baggages and getting ready to fly off, and I was waving to them, okay, come back soon. And so these are the very opposite end of what I experienced, that I was threatened to death.
Yes.
And like I had this being, this Zeta Reticuli being, who was a very small being, like 50 centimeters high, and has some kind of an artificial, like a metallic something on his head at his mouth. And it was like, literally, I see in my dream the spaceship materialized in the garden. So it's come through from another dimension, materialized. And then this being was floating to my bedroom because I'm upstairs, and come through the wall, stand at the wall, and then started to come to my end of the bed. But I said, "Hey, stop! What's going on? Who are you? Hey, I didn't let you in." So there was some kind of, fear,
Right?
but it was not, negative experience. And when I said no, it totally respected it, and it disappeared.
Okay.
So that's the other thing that confirmed what I heard from Bashar, that you have the power to say no, and I don't know why, but they respect it. I don't know if it, because these negative ETs, which I was threatened of, didn't hurt me.
No.
Yes, I had this negative, hurt in my head. Maybe I was, protecting my energy, whatever happened there, I don't know. But I also had a dream, like in the beginning of 2000, where I saw that a black craft is flying around in the nearby streets, and when it passes my window, first it doesn't care, but then it comes back, and kind of, they run the data, and they found out that they have something to do with me, so they come back. and I knew in my dream that they want to take me, like this abduction stuff. And I said, like, a Wonder Woman, I stood up and I said, "No, you cannot take me. I'm under the protection of the Council of Light." And they took off. And I have not even heard about what is Council of Light.
Right.
So this is, what we know on a conscious level, and what's happening on other levels of our consciousness.
Yes.
So I don't want to, ridicule these things, but my very rational conscious mind sometimes is conflict with these kind of, seems like science fiction, but hey, I experienced it, so
yeah. Well, I have very similar experiences, and also in my experience, what is the universal sort of like theme is that, like, as a child, maybe you don't know that you have free will, and you don't know that you have boundaries, because often in our human lives, we're not able to express our free will. Like mom and dad say you have to go to your, your cousin's birthday party, and all of a sudden you're there. There's nothing you can do, right? But in terms of energetics, the consistent thing, and this is great news for anyone listening as well, who maybe has a bit of fear about like what's happening in the world and what's happening in sort of other planes of existence, is that free will seems to be universally respected. Whether it's what we perceive of as negative or positive, we have to be participants in the experiences that occur to us, and maintaining that voiceability of non-participation if we want to, right? And is something that you can always action, and kind of like does make things dissolve right in front of your eyes. So like the minute you say to the monster under the bed, if you want to like use it as a childhood analogy, listen, you might be under the bed, but we're not doing this tonight, that takes away the power from the energetic experience, and you're suddenly free of that energetic experience.
And I was thinking about this free will, that some of the abductees said that they didn't want that, so why could they took them?
Because see, I think in terms of that, what happens is you have in your fear is consenting in many ways to what's about to occur, right? Because fear is you saying, I am in this situation that is going to be negative to me and I have no power. So once you state I have no power, that's the equivalent of saying I consent to whatever is going to happen to me. But if you say I have power, then you are free of that that element of consent or non-consent.
Yeah, it's again the same. So both ways are true. That as I haven't heard about Council of Light, or I can say no because my whatever part of my consciousness said no.
Yes.
On the other hand, someone's higher mind or whatever part of their consciousness say yes.
Right.
So as I didn't know about this, that I can say no, and I still said no. On the other hand, and Bashar also says this, that on some level you agreed to this.
Yes.
Maybe your conscious yourself, your personality self, didn't catch up with that information, and that is why it is feeling like a puppet, and just a victim of what's going on. But yes, I also see some others who experience these abductions or stuff like that, like in a more neutral way, so with rather curiosity, what is this, than total resistance. And I'm sure that is why it is more traumatic for those who experienced those things. I also had dreams. I'm not sure if it is just premonition for future parallel Earth or ETs or whatever. When a human doctor wanted to cut off my wrist and put a chip in it to, everyone needs to be chipped like dogs. So who knows, it's a future reality, which was frightening for me, or I don't know, another or maybe I was abducted, I didn't know about it. So and yes, also I had dreams where, like in the Matrix, they pull me down and they poured liquid metal or like mercury kind of stuff in you. So it was very strange, and it was not comfortable. It was not a comfortable feeling. So yeah. So I feel like I feel like still focusing and concentrating more on the positive things and the messages, and what is coming through me is always positive. It's always uplifting. I always feel humbled with their wisdom. When in my meditation I get guidance from them, they always like smooth my nerves out. They always give the guidance to smooth the waves of the or fears of the ego. And so if no one will listen to my channelings or whatever, it is still a blessing for me. So I wish this for everyone to find their way of communicating with their higher mind, with their guides somehow, and have this kind of benefit of channeling, of meditating, of whatever way of communication they choose, because I think that's the gist of the whole of this journey. This is, I think, the mystical part of our life, if I want to connect this to your podcast name. So yeah, we have to know about these things, that there are levels of consciousness on a global scale, on personal scale. There are some darkness coming up, wars, pandemics, whatever. but in that we can choose. So as we can choose to say yes to something or say no to something, it's the same with these circumstances or these events. Yeah.
Yeah, there would be a lot of people who would say like, oh, but how can you, say no to a war? What power do I have? And for me, I don't know if this is the same answer that you would give, and I'd love to hear your answer. What I always say is that you can choose, maybe you can't choose the circumstance, but you could always choose your response to the circumstance. And
Yes.
in choosing your response to the circumstance, you are directly influencing your experience, the experience of the people directly, in touch with you, like anyone around you, because, if you're in fear, but based upon a war, let's say, right? Like there's a war happening and you're in deep fear, right? You're far less functional and in service to the people around you than if you kind of go like, okay, what's next? How do I react? How do I respond? How do I choose love, when all I'm thinking is this is unjust, this is horrible, this people are, dying, or there's people who are suffering all around me. How do you choose love and approach every moment and every situation with that love first? And that serves the people around you. But then even deeper on an energetic level, you being that drop in the bucket of like loving, let's say, a dictator, right? Because you remember, that person was once a small baby, right? And that has the same life force energy running through them as every flower and every rock and every planet, everything. It's all connected. And if you could just bring yourself back to loving that, you're adding to the collective of love, right? And in the face of that love, eventually there's no space for anything but, perfection, basically. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say. And, again, like, what if someone, loses, like, let's bring it down to, the main thing. What if someone like loses their job and can't pay their bills, and, there's maybe is diagnosed with an illness? Like, how do they say they can choose?
Yeah, it's easier say from a balanced and healthy state of mind to say these things to someone who is struggling with an illness, with a war, with any harsh circumstance. And there are, again, many actions to many levels to each action. So there are actions you will and should do on the physical plane. Protect your body, whatever treatment you want to involve in, and so on. There is another level of action for your mental emotional plane, and doing the work on that how am I maybe triggering these events around me, how am I a co-creator in this event, and also the highest point of view, the spiritual knowing and wisdom that every circumstance is a chance for you to realize that you are not a victim. You are in every situation have the same creative force or power, let's say, to create your own reality. Of course, it will depend on your level of consciousness and how you relate to these knowledge and this wisdom. But you cannot say that you are a victim. And that was a huge learning point for me, that I for so long did not understand the word forgiveness, and I did not agree with any other interpretation that I heard before, and I had this experience when I was 10-ish. I was abused sexually, and I felt a victim for so long without knowing that I felt a victim. And I was angry with myself, with that man, and with my parent that did not protected me. So I was angry with the whole world, basically, and I didn't know. So I had very serious sickness. My liver went off. Again, the storage of anger and the toxins in the body. So, but I still didn't know that it is related to that. And then I had other body symptoms that are showing me that you still have this out of balance state and point of view on your life. And I got, again, with meditation, with listening in, I reached this, I could not say other word, but really the blessing and I don't know, it was a miracle for me that it came so easily. The resolution comes so easily. I got a dream where I was sitting with this guy who molested me, and I was in the back seat, and he was driving the car. And he made a wrong turn, and I hit my head. So I have to wake up. I hurt myself. I have to wake up, and then I sit in front, and I was in the driver's seat, and he was beside me, and I was, like a mother telling him that you acted wrong, that you hurt others with your acts, but buckle up, stay safe. I am handling this. And that dream, that image was so profound that it immediately release me from this grip of anger, because my anger was not about what happened, but it was about believing that I am a victim, that I did not have choice, that I was, a powerless child, and I'm still that powerless child who cannot choose. And that was the hit on your head to wake up and sit in the driver's seat of your life.
Wow.
And then I understand forgiveness. So forgiveness for me was to forgive myself, that on some levels, like the abductees could not understand why I choose this experience. It is so hurtful. Why I choose this childhood experience that is so hurtful. To wake up in some way to your power. Right. And forgiveness was this, to step out from the belief that I am a victim into the belief that, and it's not just a belief, it's now a knowing that I am a creator.
Wow.
Of my reality. And from that perspective, now it's not the what actually happened. So it is not the war that is causing PTSD. It's not the sexual trauma. It's not the illness, but what story you are putting around it, and that you feel helpless in it, that you feel that the circumstances, that other mean people or dictators are ruling and controlling my life.
Well, that's really profound.
For me, that was a big shift to, to wake yourself up to your power, that, hey, that is a man or woman with the same given creative power, because the creator created everyone equal. So I have the same creative power, create my own reality. Seemingly, maybe they have more assets. They have, the army, the police forces, the tanks and the bombers and the whatever. But still I am choosing what I want to, live. And it came to me that this question that I was wondering around, but what if they come and put a gun to your head? You have no choice.
No, you do. You do have a choice.
And yes, and people say you have no choice. But yet again, maybe it's a hard choice to detach from your physical body, that it is not you, and who believes that it is you. And when you die, it's over, yes. But I choose the belief that it is not just me. I believe in, being a multidimensional being. And most of my being is non-physical. So they can destroy my body.
But you still retain your choice to between those things.
So you still has a choice. I'm not saying that it's a good choice to being under a control of a dictator or die, but still you can choose.
Right. Yeah. And there's also more creativity beyond that as well. So it's really not ever as black and white as we believe, because
it
there's
just,
also there's so much happening in there. So this has been such a fascinating turn of the conversation. I've loved so much of the wisdom that's come out in this, and thank you for sharing all that with us. Can you tell people what your current offerings are?
So I do one-on-one sessions, basically channeling the guides of my guides, and of course I invite the guides of the client in these conversations. And I do YouTube channels, free my YouTube channel, so free videos there, free group sessions on Facebook. I post on Instagram as well. So that is how I am, practicing this channeling more and more, and I will see how it will unfold in the future.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. What's the name of your YouTube channel in English for whoever's listening?
It's Bringers of Light, and the same is on Instagram. It has a number 7 at the end, Bringers of Light 7 on Instagram, and Bringers of Light 7 on Facebook. But on YouTube, it's simply Bringers of Light. Yeah, and my all of my links, my website is under that, or my website is bringersoflight.webnode.hu. I'm
going to put all of these links into the show notes, so anyone who is interested is going to be able to just click right through to get to your content. That's really amazing.
Cool.
And
thank you.
Is there some last message you'd like to leave everyone with, just to take out into their day and feel inspired by?
Well, I guess it would be, follow for your excitement. That's what I learn and practice and try to teach to others. I learned it from my biggest master here on this plane, Bashar, channeled by Daryl Anka. And I can testify to that it is the best way to, reach your wholeness and be who you truly are, whatever that means to you. I was born to do this. I get these downloads that I came here to this earth to teach you who you truly are. And if I can help you with that in any way, shape, or form, I'm here. You can reach me. And God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Vera, for sharing everything with us. And it's been such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Some Kind of Mystic podcast. If you're hearing this message, you've listened all the way to the end of this episode, and for that, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's people just like you that keep me motivated to bring you more and more enlightened content to the world. If If you have any questions about the things we covered in the show or would like to follow my projects, please find me on www.jpherman.com. I answer all my messages, so don't hesitate to reach out. You can also find me on Instagram, and the details are in the show notes.
It came to my mind that there is, I don't know the name of that animal. It's like the Tasmanian
Devil.
devil.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that it has a cube shape poo.
Oh.
Is that true?
I don't know if that's true. We can ask the listeners.
It's really fascinating.
Okay, so we have to ask our listeners, like, what animal poops in the shape of a cube?
Cube, yes.
Okay.
What's the name of that animal?
Okay, Vera wants to know, and leave that in the comments of the show or get in touch directly with her so we have the answer. Oh, thanks so much. Have a wonderful and fun day.
Thank you, for you too.